fight Tyson, and you know it. You hit me, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Welcome back to the Big Fight Recap here on BLTV Classic.
He pulled his glasses off. Did you see his eye? His eye was just hanging out his head.
On today's video, we revisit the infamous two-fight saga between Mike Tyson and Mitch Blood Green. A genuine beef that 10 rounds of boxing.
I like boxing videos, they're pretty good actually.
The two would face off one more time on the street, this time in a much shorter affair with a decisive victory. Let's get right to it.
Guys, I want to see a video chat about how he lost this one fight. Is it good or not?
Closing with a flurry. The bell is going to sound.
After Tyson's 10-round decision to James Quick Tillis in 1986, the invincibility aura from Kid Dynamite took a slight knock as the two heavyweights battled out a much closer fight than the boxing fans and bookmakers expected.
How disappointed are you that the knockout string is over?
Not at all. If anything, I feel relieved, and I'm confident if I wanted to, I could have knocked them out.
It was Tyson's first time going the distance, as he had finished his previous
Jesus, they're not blocking
inside the opening 2 or 3 rounds. That gave some of the other heavyweight contenders an incentive to catch this teenage dynamo early, halt the hype train, and earn the highest possible payday outside of a championship fight.
Bro, they're both swinging.
I want Mike Tyson. Point blank. Michelle Tyson. He's a I'm gonna knock him out.
Mitch Blood Green was one of the first fighters
with the filter
of digital camcorders to get his message out there to boxing fans.
Now I'm gonna show you something. Feast your eyes on a real heavyweight.
There was no social media in those days, but local news stations and televised sports networks such as HBO would air the clips during a broadcast to gauge the fans' reaction.
Power. I ain't no joke. My name is Blood Green. Now you heard my fight. Watch my smoke.
It's probably due to audio compression over time, but I can honestly say I have difficulty understanding what Mitch Green is saying. Two clear things were the muscle flexing and homophobic slurs, and bizarrely enough, as far as my research suggests, this was enough to land him a shot at the hottest prospect in world boxing.
Wait, really?
Growing up on the tough streets of Detroit, Mitch Green was a prominent player in 1970s New York gang warfare. By the age of 17, he had witnessed his father lose his life in a bizarre Western-style quick-draw shootout, not long before being shot twice himself. Fortunately, escaping non-fatal injuries,
a quick draw?
Green tried to escape gang life by joining the UBA boxing gym in New York. But by this time, his ties to the street were too pronounced, as he was now hailed the king of New York street gangs by the NYPD for his role as gang leader in the deadly Bloods crew. Things slowly started to change for Mitch, as his reputation as a gang leader was exceeded by that of a talented amateur boxer.
Breaking news, my fellow Brixton Nuking has been named and his name is...
Wait, what was that? Hold up.
That of a talented amateur boxer. The muscular...
Wait, a hit behind the head? How's that even... What the fuck is that? Am I crazy?
Reputation as a gang leader was exceeded by that of a talented amateur boxer. The muscular 6'5" big man that was racking up copious tournament success, including several New York Golden Gloves.
From the Bronx, New York, undefeated in 5 professional bouts with 1 draw.
Green took to the professional
ring if he turned, though.
And quickly started racking up wins over journeyman and fringe contenders such as Jumbo Cummings. Champion in waiting Trevor Berbick became the first man to beat Green in 1985, where Mitch made a good account of himself, only losing by majority decision. Both Tyson and Green were on the fringe of a world title shot, so regardless of the antics...
Bro, it's about potential injury. Like, yeah, I get it, you shouldn't turn, but bro, a punch on the head, what if you cause a massive injury to somebody?
The two were on a likely collision course. The trash talk from Green just helped build more interest in the fight, which in turn certainly struck a chord with Tyson, who openly admitted to hating that ugly mother effer.
What?
And Mike Tyson, traditionally, no robe, no socks. He says it makes him feel like a warrior, makes him feel like a gladiator.
Tyson met Green for the first time in May 1986 at Madison Square Garden. It was Tyson's first match at a prestigious boxing venue and also the first to be covered by a large television network. Yet, the occasion didn't change the traditional no robe, no socks attire. He was all business and had a personal vendetta to settle with the now not-so-confident-looking Mitch Blood Green.
And was so much a factor in the last fight that we showed you here on HBO that he didn't double up. He just was a little bit lazy, especially in the later rounds. So we'll see what he does about that against Mitch Green.
Always aggressive, right in front of his man. That was his
That guy's gonna be at a juice soon, Jesus Christ. Why is he so explosive at the gate like that?
Warning from Luis Rivera, the referee, about holding. Green's in trouble. Good left hand by Tyson.
Everyone has a plan until they get their mouthguard punched out of the ring in the first round. While Green had all the physical advantages, Tyson's supreme boxing skills and speed negated the gap in size and weight, backing up Green from the opening bell, slipping and countering, forcing the much bigger man into survival mode from the word go.
Big right hand against Tillis, and what a shot! That is an awesome shot.
Tyson punched out Green's mouthguard again in the third, whereafter he started mocking his opponent for having a wide, gulping mouth, stalking him across the ring, landing fierce, single power punches.
The fishman throws his punch.
Another big left hook.
Hey, Tyson there, good uppercut. He has to take a stand eventually. Another couple body shots. Well, he's smiling. Tyson is smiling, but see, Green has those fast hands.
The fight became so routine by the closing stages, the crowd knew they were witnessing a foregone conclusion. Tyson himself appeared to have his mind elsewhere as he bizarrely kissed his trainer, Kevin Rooney, while he was trying to deliver him intricate strategies and details regarding the fight.
Well, Kevin Rooney is in there and just jabbering away 100 miles a minute. Mike Tyson leaned over and just kissed him.
Tyson closed the show, trying to score the knockout, but Green's disinclination to engage allowed him to grab and clinch his way to safety, resulting in him losing 9 out of 10 of the rounds on every bit of the scorecard.
I mean, the guy was able to, you know.
That I was going to win this fight so easy because of his style. He's a game tough opponent, and he took some fairly decent shots. But as you know, I won comfortably, and I didn't try for the knockout, and I used a great deal of discipline in there, not knocking him out.
Tyson claimed he carried Green the 10-round distance on purpose to punish him for as long as possible, and whether it was true or not, Green's personal pride was hurt, and he was willing to do whatever it took to restore a sliver of respect amongst his peers.
Huh?
Green retired from boxing after the Tyson loss and returned to the street to earn a living from selling drugs. He always planned to one day get Tyson back in the ring, but as his years of inactivity ensued, Tyson progressed to one of the most dominant heavyweight champions of all time, undefeated and undisputed. The days of fighting lingering contenders such as Mitch Green were over. It wasn't until a couple of years after their fight that the two would meet again, this time in Green's element, the street. In the early hours of August 23, 1988, Mitch Green got wind that Tyson was shopping at a local clothing store close by to where he ran things on the street. Tyson had traveled a fair distance to pick up a luxury leather jacket handmade by one of his friends over at Dapper Dan's.
Wait a minute.
As Tyson was chilling in the store with his entourage, Mitch Green burst through the door on his own, high on angel dust, demanding Tyson either give him a rematch or empty his pockets right there on the spot. Tyson, of course, no stranger to altercations on the street, dragged Mitch Green outside and pummeled him to the ground multiple times. Spectators said that the fight was short, violent, and very one-sided. In fact, it was no longer than 15 to 20 seconds, but that's more than long enough for the heavyweight champion to inflict severe damage. There is no footage of the fight, regardless of the clickbait you see on YouTube, but there were many accounts of what happened that all aligned, all except Green's account, where he claimed Tyson sucker punched him and ran.
Who threw the first punch here?
He did. He sucker punched me because he's with his friends, you know, and when he hit me, and I said I couldn't get a chance to get to him like I wanted to because everybody was like pulling me, you know, holding me like so he could get away from me, so he could get away, and he ran from me.
Green was certain the Tyson scuffle, which became mainstream news around the world, would add enough public intrigue to get his rival back in the ring. But Mitch had already burnt his bridges among the promoters in the sport, with his violent threats to Don King in the past already shadow banning him from ever earning any serious money in the ring again. After Green's failed attempts to get the rematch with Tyson, he filed a civil lawsuit for $20 million due to the injuries he suffered during their fight. The former gang leader came away with one small W to coincide with a long list of L's, winning the case and being awarded $45,000, close to what his purse was during their professional fight in 1986.
Yeah, I remember seeing Mitch Green's eye after that. It was like, he broke his socket.
Wait, he probably came out losing, right? He's a lawyer and shit, no?
He broke his eye socket.
Yeah. Oh, unless in civil they pay for the lawyer fees on the opposite side.
Right there, right?
Green returned to the ring 7 years later, but at that point he was a shell of his former self and was beaten by journeymen with losing records until he hung him up for good in 2005. As of 2022, Green is still a large-as-life character, but now employs his energy into his love of Christianity. He still has a gripe with Tyson, but I think it's fair to say the two have now moved on, and whenever the topic is brought up today, they both make light of their infamous 30-year feud.
That didn't work. The boy scared to death. After we had the street fight, the boy scared to death.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't y'all have a street fight, Mitch?
For the ring, for the street.
thinking the man would do something about it. He wouldn't do nothing. Oh, man, it freaked me out.
Did you know that actually Tyson and Sal are good friends and he comes to the show? He knew, look who's there. Yeah, it's like Tyson. You see that? He goes, "Lord, you
I don't know what it said. Look at him.
Any comments on the fight?
Yeah, proves who the real champion is.
Was it ever close?
It was over before it started.
Think there'll be a rematch?
You think they want one?
That's it.
Very good.
Welcome back to another big fight.
Okay, one more.
on BLTV Classic.
If I'm gonna do this, well, as soon as I get in the ring, it's a whole different story. I'm the killer then.
On today's video, we venture back to the closing stages of Tyson's development
Punched him into religion. Okay, bro.
period in the professional ranks. Still young and undefeated, but now taking on more serious heavyweight contenders.
Reggie Gross.
Reggie Gross isn't often credited as a serious contender. However, Tyson's legendary trainer, Cus D'Amato, knew there was more than meets the eye, as he was openly opposed to letting his prodigy take on the Baltimore Bruiser. A short, explosive battle that sent the loser spiraling out of control. Let's take a look.
Okay, interesting.
That's it. There you go. Now you got again. Who's the last guy to stop? Time. Very good.
A lot is made of Tyson's work ethic today. To see a teenage boy so dedicated to his craft is inspiring. When he wasn't in the gym perfecting his technique, he was reading boxing books and magazines, watching classic matches from Cus's library, and even attending events and weighing up his potential opponents in the flesh.
Tyson, welcome to Wembley, Mike. Thank you very much, Harry. Just give us...
He was obsessed, but his infatuation with the sport paled in comparison to his trainer and mentor, Cus D'Amato.
An all trainer, had a head full of incredible knowledge, and had this impact on every fighter that he had ever trained.
Cus's traits as a coach were endless. He was a futurist, a boundary breaker, a professor of the sweet science with the communication skills to convey his philosophy in layman's terms. But his most salient quality, widely overlooked by the hardcore boxing community, was his detailed knowledge of the current landscape in boxing. He knew the strengths and weaknesses of every fighter from New York to Moscow. If a fighter was making waves in a small town in, say, Scotland, he knew about it, and would often send one of his team, usually Jose Torres, across the globe on a scouting mission.
This is all good. Oh, there's a danger sign for Bruno.
In 1985, during Tyson's early rise, Cus took a particular interest in a young, undefeated light heavyweight from the Bronx named Reggie Gross. Gross was trained by Mac Lewis, a prominent figure in the New York boxing scene in the mid-'80s. Lewis helped nurture a talent that remained undefeated as a light heavyweight, and one that conquered two notable contenders at the 200-plus pound limit in Jimmy Clark and Smokin' Burt Cooper. Before Cus D'Amato passed away in late 1985, he left a note to Jose Torres of fighters that he thought Tyson should avoid, at least until his prodigy had gained more experience. At the top of that list was one Reginald Gross. Gross was nimble with decent defensive skills, but that wasn't the reason Cus wanted no part of him. Tyson's trainer was fearful of the fact that Gross had lost to low-caliber fighters like Anthony Witherspoon and Jack Johnson, yet was able to defeat both Jimmy Clark and Smokin' Burt Cooper within a short period of time. Gross was the sort of fighter that rose to the occasion.
Farming Summit's viewers, if you relax, bro.
And in 1986, there wasn't a more motivating challenge.
Summit doesn't dominate fucking boxing, dude.
Dynamite.
He is the most exciting heavyweight the world has been waiting for. The undefeated Mike Tyson from Catskill, New York.
Tyson came face-to-face with Gross on June 13th, 1986. Tyson had a record of 21-0 with 19 KOs, while Gross had a record of 18-4 with 12 finishes inside the distance. Tyson looked the more dangerous of the two in the opening round, stalking Gross around the ring, trying to get the job done early. With a minute left on the clock, Gross momentarily stunned Mike with an uppercut followed by a right hook. Seeing a glimpse of weakness, Gross just went all guns blazing to try and shock the world.
Oh my God.
A devastating, leaping left-hand counter put Gross down and out for the count. In total, Gross threw 18 shots in that short barrage, while Tyson, on the other hand, threw just a single blow. One of the greatest knockouts for Mike that truly emphasized how remarkable his technique was.
Were you surprised by that?
Jesus!
Not at all. At first I thought because he charged out a little with a kind of a sluggish stand, like he's just ready to wing. But I was precarious about it, and I just kept putting the jab in his face, looking forward for him to move forward.
If there is a way to beat Mike Tyson, how do you do it? You want to talk about that one, do you? I don't.
357 Magnum.
I'm starting to think.
Good chance.
It wasn't until after the Tyson match that we realized boxing was just a mere side hustle for Gross, pocket money to fuel his crippling cocaine addiction. Coming from the tough streets of Baltimore, the influence of crime and gang culture drew Reggie in at an early age. By teenhood, he'd been in and out of the juvenile system for crimes such as theft and robbery. Gross took up boxing in the late 70s, but his life outside the ring never changed. In fact, things only got worse. A lot worse.
3 weeks ago, police and sheriff's departments in Los Angeles began a major campaign to arrest gang members.
In the fall of 1986, 2 months after the Tyson fight, Gross was arrested and charged with 3 counts of murder that he allegedly carried out while working as a hitman for the infamous Boardman gang. Gross was acquitted in court for lack of evidence. However, another member of the gang, Donnie Andrews, cooperated with the FBI and gave incriminating evidence to put Reggie behind bars for the rest of his life. In 1989, Gross was convicted and sentenced to 3 life sentences, 2 of which were to serve consecutively. He's currently being held at the Terre Haute Correctional Facility in Indiana, where his expected release date is November 1st, 2048. If you'd like to know more about the Reggie Gross story, I'd recommend this video made by Rich the Fight Historian, where he goes into more detail regarding both his personal and professional life. Suppose you just crave more outlandish stories from dysfunctional boxers, then I would recommend checking out this
last one. I enjoy
You
this.
feel responsibility not just to win your fights, but also to entertain?
Absolutely. Any fighter in general would think their main objective is to make the audience go home and let them know they had witnessed something that was incredibly special.
That's cool, I like that.
Welcome back to the Big Fight Recap here on BLTV Classic.
If he doesn't die, it doesn't count. If he's not dead, it doesn't count.
On today's video, we look back at the night a prime-ready Iron Mike took on the son of a heavyweight boxing legend.
With my pop in my corner, I don't see any way that I can lose.
Something about this occasion made Tyson extremely enraged, exasperated, and eager to close the show as quickly as possible. Let's take a look.
Wait, 30 seconds.
By the fall of '86, the Tyson hype train was back to full throttle after his impeccable one-round annihilation job over fellow contender Reggie Gross.
That it's very difficult with a kid who throws hydrogen bombs to get him experience.
To this point, Team Tyson was still matching their prodigy relatively lightly, despite every boxing fan, including Mike himself, convinced he had the tools to mix it up with the current champions in the heavyweight division.
I'm starting to think that you're unstoppable. Do you feel that you're the best heavyweight in the world, that you can step in with anybody right now?
I feel I am the best fighter in the world right now.
Watching a fighter as brilliant as Mike Tyson being steered away from a title shot was frustrating for the boxing community. Yet, in retrospect, his managers, Jim Jacobs and Bill Caton, were not only aiding Mike in building an impressive unbeaten record, they were, more importantly, ensuring the development of a raw young talent that, once he secured his title shot, was the complete finished article.
I'm the leader. I look everything over carefully, and then I send him in to do the job.
The former Hall of Fame legendary heavyweight champion Joe Frazier, who famously beat the previously unbeaten Muhammad Ali in 1971's Fight of the Century, took an entirely against-the-grain approach as to how a fighter should be developed during his managerial years post-retirement.
I'm not in charge, you know. If they say fight King Kong, I'm ready. All I have to do is get my body in condition and my mind and spirit, and I'm ready.
Smokin' Joe had the attitude, if you're gonna be a journeyman boxer, there's no point in beating around the bush. As the fighters he trained, such as James Shuler, Burt Cooper, and son Marvis, quickly found out once they were under his tutelage.
If I couldn't train these boys, or I couldn't live with these boys, I'd be the first guy to get the hell out the way.
Marvis embraced his father's philosophy, where after a very brief amateur career, he began fighting legitimate top contenders inside his first 10 fights as a pro.
Now against Sowski as he backs him into the ropes above us. 2 lefts and a right hand, all by Marvis Frazier, all score.
Marvis beat Steve Zuski, James Broad, and Joe Buckner in his first few fights. In doing so, he never looked like a world beater, more so a man determined to at least fill a sliver of his father's boots. Joe pushed his son to the complete deep end in 1983, having Marvis face off with the #1 heavyweight in the world, Larry Holmes, who at the time had a record of 44-0.
I too fast, I talk and breathe at the same time.
As many experts predicted, the fight was a complete mismatch, and Larry made sure every spectator at ringside, including Marvis's father, knew of it. Joe never lost faith in his son though, pushing him even harder in the direct aftermath, where Marvis regained momentum with impressive wins over Quick Tillis and Bone Crusher Smith. Whether the Fraziers genuinely felt they were ready for Tyson or not, Marvis's ranking among the sanctioning bodies put him in the direct firing line of the most devastating contender in world boxing.
This hair's gotta get fixed, man. This hair looks like terrible now.
Trains and lives in Catskill, New York. Mike Tyson entering as the Warrior.
Tyson met Frazier at the Civic Center in Glens Falls, New York in July 1986. Tyson paced up and down the ring during the introductions, angry and eager to one-up what Holmes did a couple of years prior. He later admitted that he was scared, but wanted to project his fear onto Marvis, who, by the looks of things, had the exact same idea.
3 judges. The referee does not score, scoring on the round system. Supplemental 4-point scoring system if the rounds wind up even, and the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Tyson comes out slugging. Uppercut and Marvis hurt.
Jesus.
Joe Cortez moves in to have a look, and he's going to stop the fight.
Frazier became Tyson's fastest ever victim, out on his feet, absorbing devastating power punches that left him slumped in the corner inside 30 seconds.
Marvis is badly hurt at this point. Uppercut again, and there Marvis is out on his feet. Everything after this is just incidental.
It took a while for Tyson to calm down, pumped up after his, on paper, best win to date. But once he did, he sent a chilling message to the current champions.
And I came out and I was confident. I knew the fight. I felt it deep in my heart I was going to stop him in the first round.
In your mind, if your managers Jim Jacobs and Bill Caton and your trainer Kevin Rooney came to you and said, Mike, we think you're ready for a title shot tomorrow, would you agree with them at this point?
Most definitely. Anytime if my manager and my trainer feel that I'm confident and they're willing to put me in the title and they're sure I could beat the champion, I'm sure I could beat them also.
Of the 3 champions, who would you like to fight and why?
I'd fight anybody my trainer put me in with because I'm confident I could beat any fighter in the world.
With only 21 fights to his name, Marvis Frazier hung up the gloves for good, proud of what he achieved in such a short amount of time. I'd personally never blame Joe for Marvis's career trajectory. On paper, it looks naive, but the truth is he had unconditional love for his son, and I think both were just living a bit of a delusion regarding his potential. Marvis has kept a low profile since retirement, but in this interview from a few years ago, he admits that trying to follow in his father's footsteps was always going to be a near impossible task.
I feel to stand in the shadow of Joe Frazier, and to me, I always thought I was standing in the light because it's a great legacy. You know, my father could have been, a drug dealer. He could have been in prison. He could be a bum on the streets on Skid Row. But my dad is smoking Joe Frazier.
Fair enough, huh? That's fair enough.